Good afternoon. I work for WMG at the University of Warwick. WMG, formerly Warwick Manufacturing Group, is an unusual department in that practically everything we do is with industry, whether it's research, technology transfer, or education. So our role is to help our partners get their products, services, and technologies to market, maybe a little earlier, a little more confidently. Today, firstly, I'd like to say that I'm a strong advocate for connected autonomous vehicles. I believe that they will result in transportation that will be safer, more efficient, more comfortable, and more convenient, and that they will benefit everybody. So I'm a strong advocate. It's also a huge commercial opportunity for UK Inc. However, there are a number of barriers that we need to overcome. We need to ensure that these technologies and services are going to be dependable, and by that I mean safe, secure, robust, and reliable. We need to ensure that they're going to be desirable, socially acceptable, trusted, and also the business is changing. We've got new entrants into the value chain, and maybe we're moving towards mobility as a service rather than actually just selling vehicles. In order to be able to find our way through that and be able to learn more and ensure that our technologies and services are dependable, desirable, and viable, we need to learn from a whole continuum of different approaches, from simulation through testing and trials through to early deployment. At the moment, we already have trials that you may be aware of in the real world, in Greenwich that we've heard about, in Milton Keynes, Coventry, Bristol. And public trials are hugely valuable, but mainly in terms of user engagement and public engagement and learning about service. I'm not sure that you would call them testing in the true sense of the word. Out there in the real world, there is no control over that operating environment. It's very complicated, and you need to make sure that the risk is minimized. So it tends to be that these trials are very expensive as well. Maybe the product is over-engineered to ensure that they're safe. Also, you hear figures quoted about the number of miles that need to be driven, and you hear figures of hundreds of millions, if not billions of miles that are necessary. We would challenge that and say that actually it's not the number of miles, it's what you experience over those miles. It's those complex edge cases that are most important. And if they happen in the public environment, that moment is gone and you've lost it. So alternatively, we may look to do things in a more controlled manner at our test beds, at our test tracks and proving grounds, such that we've heard that from Hariba Myra. Here we have the ability to be able to look at the physical technology, but have much more control over the operating environment, and it's a safe environment too. But there are limitations on the number of test cases you can examine, and maybe you're lacking that real-world human element. Eventually, we may wish to do things entirely in modeling and simulation. That's got the advantage of being able to look at any what-if, but there are still lots of technical challenges to make sure that virtual environments and modeling and simulation are completely representative of the real world, and also maybe use the human element. Long term, we see all these approaches working together as a continuum, such that we can work on what are the most appropriate test cases and scenarios, what are the appropriate methods, and actually how do we use these methods to input into the new standards that will be necessary in the new certification processes. And also the real world can actually provide input and validation data for the modeling world. So we see this continuum working together. At Warwick, we're actually looking at maybe some new approaches. Firstly, we're looking at a sort of hybrid between modeling and simulation in the physical world with our new simulator facility, where we are synthesizing the world around, but using real vehicles and real people. We can then set up the most interesting test cases and see how the people, and crucially the vehicles, will behave in a safe, repeatable, controlled environment. And we're creating not just the sights and sounds, the pedestrians, the other road users, the traffic, we're also creating the wireless environment. And also, as part of Meridian, we're creating a real-world public environment on the streets of Coventry and Birmingham, where we can safely bring the new technologies and services to evaluate them and be able to learn the most valuable information we can in a safe and easily accessible environment, and also engaging the local public while we do that. You can learn a lot about our initiative, Midlands Future Mobility, which we're running with a very interesting consortium. We're working with Amy, who are looking at the digital backbone, Costain looking at smart vehicle monitoring. We're working with Wireless Infrastructure Group to make sure we've got the latest connectivity. We're working with Chris and Hariba Myra and AVL, who are experts around testing methods and engineering consultancy. And crucially, we're working with Transport for West Midlands, who look after the roads. An exciting initiative. You can see more on the stand in the Meridian stand. And thank you for your time.